Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Mayday-san Gaming. Today we are LARPing it out and doing a review of the SIG SAUER MCX VIRTUS Airsoft gun. That's right. Just a little background information. I'm Canadian and I live in Japan, so I've never shot a real firearm, and I've never shot an airsoft gun until I actually came to Japan. So don't go in the comment section saying, "Oh, it's not a real gun. You can't do that." Japan, all right. Japan invented airsoft. This is where it's all made. So let's just enjoy it. Let a man have fun. All right. Anyway, this is for those people who have been thinking about getting the MCX, as it's slowly becoming a more popular AEG here in Japan. I've seen a lot more people getting used to getting this gun and moving away from the classic M4 platform, which is funny because I just bought another M4. But anyway, I want to talk about my build and pretty much finalized this build after doing a whole bunch of changes to it. And just let you know, this gun is not stock, clearly. So we're going to go tip to butt, grand thumb style, and we're going to start at the muzzle here. So we have just a regular $10 suppressor, literally just to make it tactical. It can get a little heavy. I don't really like putting suppressors on my guns because they kind of make it heavy. And of course, when I go indoor and I play with the tracer unit, I will use the regular Ace Tech tracer lighter. Moving down, we have just literally $10 cosplay backup iron sights. They're not zeroed at all. Literally just got them because the MCX doesn't come with them and it looks weird without them, so I just got them for 10 bucks. But on the other side here, we have a Surefire Replica X300, which I can use to when I'm in CQB and just use it as a flashlight to blind my enemies and stuff like that. Have I actually ever used it yet? No. It gets a little bit wobbly, but the way you can fix that is you put some tape on the actual M-LOK rail itself, which brings me to the handguard. This handguard is an M-LOK handguard. Obviously it has the SIG design, skeletonized. It's actually very, very light, so you can afford to put attachments on this thing without it getting too heavy, like a classic quad rail, which is why I kind of like it. And it's very light, and it actually has sling points here and a sling point on the stock. This is not a sling point, unfortunately, so don't get deceived. So if you have a quick deploy, a QD point is built into the handguard here. Now this foregrip here, I actually got a comment recently on a video talking about how the way I grip the gun is a high bore. It's not a C clamp. A C clamp is more like this, but this is a high bore. And they're wondering, why would you even have a foregrip if you're just gonna do a C clamp anyway? Why are you not broomsticking it? First of all, I never broomstick my hand grip for some reason, my foregrips, because I don't know, for some reason it loses stability and I don't really like it. I just don't like how it feels. I have big long arms and I have really big hands, so I have to wrap my hand around it. So what it acts is it acts as a hand stop. So you're not actually like holding not holding the handguard or holding the foregrip at all. You're actually you're kind of going in this diagonal thing and pulling in, and you're pulling in and you're bracing for recoil going up, and you're pulling in to get that nice cheek weld and stuff. Now, granted, this is an AEG and there's actually no recoil at all. So it's just for purely LARPing purposes and just to kind of stabilize my shot at distances. But this is literally what it is, and it acts as a double tool. So one as my default, high bore pulling in grip, and then if I do get tired, I can just put my elbow into my rib and just kind of like hold it down and kind of go into CQB. But it's not that long like a Tango or an RVG, so can't really do that. But just when I get tired, or I'm holding an ankle for so long, I can have that option instead of just using a regular hand stop where I don't have that option at all. So basically using a high bore grip to actually grip it from a 45 and pulling it into my body. Now let's talk about this handguard really quick. And the way you actually remove it is with this body pin here, which can be a little hard at the beginning, but once you do it a bunch of times, you can actually remove it. And you actually have to remove the muzzle device. Get rid of this thing, and we're gonna remove this slowly, because one, if you do it too fast, you'll cut your hands open, and two, you'll cut the wires out. So it also removes the upper receiver, so be careful of that. Slowly take that out to reveal the handguard. Now, fun fact, this can actually be replaced with actual SIG handguard. So if you want to go for the patrol, like the long one, or the Rattler, you can go for the short one. You can also change to that as well. I live in Japan, so if I ever wanted to get those in. I don't even think you would be allowed to bring those in, or they would cost a fortune. So don't do that. It's actually very, very light. So talking about that, let's talk about the outer barrel and what's going on here. So we actually have a fake mock gas block, which is just cool to have. It's just cool. And you can see from the markings here, it actually gets scratched up quite a bit. So you got to be careful of that. And we have the front wires. So it's actually can be detached, and you remove these to open up the gun. We're not doing that today. But we have a MOSFET built into this, and also a fuse, and we have a Dean's connection. Now, your MCX, when you get it, will not have a Dean's connection. It will be Tamiya. This gun has been worked on, so we have a T connection, a Dean's connection on here, thanks to my boy. Shout outs to you, Tony. And there are two types of batteries you can kind of put in here. They're like the candy bar ones, or the nunchuck ones could fit too, but those fat ones, like those ones that look like the 8.4 nickel metal hydride ones, those won't fit in the handguard. So you're kind of limited on the space because you're gonna have to put them in this little slot here. Now, I'm using 11.1s because I had the MOSFET built. I had the MOSFET built into the gun. So usually you'd want to use just like 7.4s. And you could use 7.4s, but I'm a god, so I get to use 11.1. So the way you put it into this little slot here, and it gets kind of annoying to put it in, and then you attach the Dean's connection like so. There we go. All right, we got it in. So now the gun will fire. So make sure there's no BBs in here. Check that. Nothing in there. And there you go. This gun has been DSG'd, dual sector gear, and it's been reshimmed, and it's been cleaned up, tightened up, so it actually shoots like a dream. So it actually has that nice snappy sound. Yours might sound like a screaming puppy. So we're gonna go ahead and put this, we're actually gonna take this out because I don't need to demonstrate this anymore. If you're wondering how fast it actually shoots, my current build anyway, with the spring that I have inside right now, which is a quick change spring, which I can't really show you because I'll explain later, but it shoots on 0.20s 94 95 meters per second, and then on 0.25s it shoots 84 or so. And you may be wondering, well, why don't you test it with 30s or 2.8s? In Japan, the limits are very, very low, and you're not really allowed to use anything above 2.5s at most fields. So you better just get used to shooting 2.0s and 2.5s. So that's the beauty of Japan. Guns are relatively safe, and nobody owns a rifle anyway. So I don't think we're gonna get banned. Hopefully not. But I hope Canada is okay too. But anyway, joules are very low here. You can get shot in CQB and it doesn't hurt that much unless you get shot at some weird angle. But anyway, that's a topic for a different day. So now we're moving up to the optic. We have a Evolution Gear EXP-X3, and it has the single dot, not the double dot. And it's cool. It's just cosplay. I just wanted to have an EOTech. It's pretty clear. The only thing I don't like about this optic is that it's not that bright. So outside I kind of get struggle bussy. But indoors it's perfectly fine. And I have a little hurricane shield on here, which gets shot out in 1 BB. So I would recommend putting another shield on top if you do play CQB. Moving up to the upper receiver now, we have ambidextrous controls for the mag release. So we have one here for the lefties, and we have one on the other side, big open wide one, so you can't miss it, on the right, much bigger than the M4. The fire selector switch is ambidextrous as well, so and it has a little bit of a rattle to it, but it's pretty solid nonetheless. And it kind of changed from the stock configuration when I did get this gun worked on. Now let's talk about the dust cover here and the hop-up unit. Pull this out. You can see here that the hop-up is a rotary style hop-up, and that the charging handle barely goes, and it'll automatically lock. So you actually have to press the bolt release. When you press the bolt release, it'll have the double spring system that is actually on the real SIG MCX, and it actually translates to here. So if I were to close this, you'll hear how it snaps. Let's try it again. So it's an actual snappy one. Nothing like a gas blowback, of course, but this is what it is. The pistol grip. Pistol grip is literally just stock. Has some dirt on it because I played outside with it in the mud and stuff like that. Literally stock. Does get a little smoky. I'm sure changing out the motor or the hand grip itself, I mean the pistol grip itself, will remedy that issue, but I haven't really run into any issues with that. It does have a back strap, which is nice, so it's not like your traditional M4 annoying one with the little nub in the middle. So this is a nice fat grip similar to a PTS, but it doesn't have the same feel as the PTS. It's more of a plasticky feel rather than that kind of nice polymer that you get with the PTS. Let's talk about the magwell. Aside from the markings of the SIG markings and all that stuff, you have the VIRTUS, you have the SIG markings on here, which is what you pay for. The mags, okay, the magwell. So if you take a look at this, there are some wires here, these red wires here, and these have actually been rearranged, and we actually stuffed them into the side of the gearbox because when you get yours, it will actually be like right on top of the gearbox. So your mags will hit them and you'll actually end up breaking the wires over time, and that's not good. So it's actually a relatively easy fix. You take off the handguard, you take off the pin, and you take out the upper receiver just a little bit, and you'll be able to rewire and just push them in with like a tool, like a screwdriver or something, and just push them into the side here, and you'll be good to go. If you want to go the extra mile, you can put it behind the bolt catch, but you don't really need to do that anyway. So the next thing you'll notice here is that I actually have some electric tape in here as well. So I actually did this to make the mags wobble less, and you'll see why in a moment, because mag fitment in this particular AEG rifle is not as smooth as something like an NGRS or a gas blowback, of course. It is very weird, and in Japanese you'll say bimyon. It's just kind of like there's just something not right about it, and it's kind of weird. It just doesn't quite go in like you would expect it. It's kind of like this weird, you hear that? It's kind of weird. It's not quite what you would expect, and you can feel like this blockage when you do reload it. But anyway, let's talk about the mags. So the mags that will fit, and you're gonna find that it is really hard to find mags that will fit. And I've gone through P mags, I've gone through what are those, Aries mags, and I've gone through regular Stanag mags. And honestly, the best ones that fit are 2 magazines here, and you can get them in Japan for they're pretty expensive. One of them is expensive and one of them isn't as much. And then of course in America, I think they're a lot cheaper. But anyway, you have 2 types of magazines. You have the PTS EPMs, and then you have the Crytacs, the new Crytacs that just came out, and they're like Nisei. These are like $20. These ones are like $38. So $38 for this one. And we're talking in American dollars here because the internet is America. So anyway, so I found that the best fitting magazine is the EPM. So what I like about this one is that it fits in, it has a nice positive click, and it doesn't come out. And it won't fall out. It'll wobble a bit, and you can remedy that with the tape, but in action and in reality, it doesn't really waddle that much. And of course, you can drop these things like a motherfucker, and it doesn't even matter. Now, these Crytac ones fit perfectly. Look at that. They just fit right in. They fit right in, right? So these ones probably are the best fitting with the least wobble, but they are kind of cheap-ish, so I wouldn't recommend throwing these ones on the ground, but the EPMs, you can do whatever you want. These ones are easier to grab because they're thick boy, and these ones are a little bit harder to grab because they're thin boys. But overall, they're pretty nice. I kind of like these ones too because they have the window, and I short load my mags. I shoot at 30, so it's nice to know how much ammo I do have left. Meanwhile, with the EPMs, I had no idea how much I have. I just do 10 pumps, 12 pumps, and that's how much I have. So 2 mags I'd recommend, the EPM and the Crytac. The stock one that comes with the MCX is ass. Don't bother with that one. Okay, last thing about this gun is the stock. Now, this gun will actually come with a regular PDW stock, as you'll see in the pictures, and it'll slide into the slot here, and you'll press it out with the button, and it has a PDW stock. And the length of pull on that is actually the same as this. Okay, it's actually the same as this. So for me, with long ass arms, I'm a lanky guy, I have to kind of do this when I'm shooting, which gives me, because it's 2 bars PDW, so it gives me a bad cheek weld first of all, and it kind of makes my arm wrap like this, like a chicken. So it's good for CQB, I suppose, but for outdoor and stuff like that, where I need to hold longer angles and stuff like that, and have a more positive, consistent experience amongst my rifles, it's much better to have something like this. Now, at the back of the MCX is not a buffer tube. It is actually a Picatinny. You can't really see it here, but there's a Picatinny rail here, and actually there's a piece in the middle where you can actually use an Allen key and take it out and change out the spring with the quick change spring system. And if you want to play indoor, you can change the spring, or spring outdoor, you can change it there as well. But honestly, it doesn't really matter anyway. And the funny thing is, so this buffer tube is an adapter. So there's a buffer tube that is a Picatinny onto the MCX, and it's held in by a 3.5 millimeter Allen key. And the funny thing is, I can't take this off because I don't have that tool. When I installed this, my friend brought his tool when he went to Tokyo Sabage Park, and we used that to install it, and it fits like a dream. At first it kind of didn't, so I actually put a piece of electric tape in between the Picatinny to kind of fill in the spaces and then tighten it, but I think that gave it a solid thing as well. Very solid. It is by Midwest Industries, so this is a real steel buffer tube, and I actually got this from my boy who brought this in from America for me. And now you're probably seeing in the comment section, man's LARPing with an AEG, puts a real buffer tube stock on it. Bro, just get a real gun. I'm not gonna get a real gun. I can't shoot people with a real gun. Okay, anyway. I guess I could, but then I get arrested. I can't play around and just spam BBs and spam bullets with guns, with a real gun. Let a man LARP. Anyway, so this last thing here is a Magpul, real steel Magpul CTR. And again, repeat the same comment as before, let a man LARP. Okay, so this is a nice stock. I actually really like it a lot. I was gonna go crane, but I like the look of the CTR, and I like that it has a QD point as well, and I like that it has the length of pull that I need, which is around here, so around the forearm. It is a little bit too long. I think setting 3 or so. Yep, might be setting 4. Yeah, I think setting 4. Setting 3. Yeah, setting 3. And the cool part about it is that it has play, but it has a lock system, so it has no play. So now I get a solid cheek well. I get a solid stock, and it's funny because I use a nicer stock than I do on my gas blowback rifle, and it's for an AEG that has no recoil. But with that being said, that is the SIG Air, SIG SAUER, MCX VIRTUS Asia edition. And a fun little trivia, the flash hider that this does come with is not orange, and it's not glued on like a crazy mofo because it's Asia and nobody owns guns like it's, I don't know, you can just go to Walmart and buy a gun. So this is a quality piece of gear, and I got it for 44,000 yen, so that's about $440 American on sale, and usually it goes for 57,000, so that's about $570 American, and then at list price you can get it for 63, which is about $625. Is it worth it? For 44, it's worth it. For 63, I don't know. The insides are good. It's an Avalon gearbox. Get it reshimmed, get it worked on. If you live in Japan, live in Tokyo area, hit me up in the DMs. I can link you to the guy that works on all my guns, and it does a very good job with them. If you live in Tokyo. If you don't, then contact somebody. I don't know. Get the gun worked on. It shoots all right out of the box. You guys saw it in my video of the M13 in real life in Airsoft, and then in all my other videos, you've seen this gun in action. But I just wanted to finally give a review on this gun, as I finally settled on a build for it. And yeah, guys, that's all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, let a man LARP and eat my ass.